Yeah,
After Detective Reese, it'll be Apple Denny.
okay. And what are you looking to?
I can do my quick offer of proof right now.
Okay.
Yes.
I said cross because I thought you were real close to finishing on direct, but go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd just like to make an offer of proof related to text messages messages that we received from the state yesterday. The first thing I'd like to introduce as, and I don't know if these get numbered as exhibits or just entered separately, like for the appellate record, but the first item I'd like to introduce or submit as an exhibit to this offer of proof is a text message that was provided to us. It was purported to be from Apple Denny's phone. It is undated. It has some communications. This was not provided to us in discovery or prior to yesterday, which was Friday, June 26th. I would like to submit this as an exhibit to this offer of proof.
Okay. Text message from Ms. Benning's phone. Okay.
The second item I would like to submit as our offer of proof is
Go ahead.
a series of messages. Some of them may be versions of messages that we received yesterday as well from the state. They are important to be or identified as messages between Apple Denny and Mr. Taylor. They have dates on them that identify them as 6/20/2018. By our understanding, those are outside the scope of the search warrant for Mr. Taylor's iCloud. Obviously, we were not provided those previously, but they're also outside the scope of the search warrant for the iCloud. Some of them appear to be similar to that first text message. Some of them are additional to the first text message. So that would be the second item that I would introduce as for our offer of proof.
Okay. Anything else?
Yes, I would just like to proffer for the court, or for the record, that as it is my understanding based on the state statements that and the court's direction towards me, that if we were to cross-examine in certain ways, the door would be open and those items would be allowed to be introduced in this matter. My understanding of the restrictions on the testimony based on the 404 hearing, that they were very limited. Cross-examination would potentially have included the following information. It would include questions about bias, questions about subsequent postings on social media that included bias. One of those items included a post from April of this year, which I would introduce as Exhibit 3 to this offer of proof.
You're wanting to get
This is
into
an offer of
that
proof.
or not?
Can I see what the offer?
I'm not going to anymore based on the court's instruction, but I'm introducing this as an offer of proof.
Okay, give the state, show it to the state. I don't know what to. I'm not ruling on whether that would come in or not.
Well, my understanding was the very clear direction from the court was I better not open the door, so I'm modifying my
For a lot of
cross-examination.
things. Not just these. I'm not
For my
preventing you
offer.
for offering anything.
Thank you, Your Honor. For my additional offer of proof, cross-examination would also have included, which were asked about previously at our 404B hearing, the calls that Miss Denny had made to the police that were unsubstantiated against Mr. Taylor, essentially unsubstantiated prior allegations against Mr. Taylor. So I would like to submit for the fourth exhibit to our offer of proof. Those that would have been part of our cross-examination.
Phone call. If you want to ask her, ask her.
Your Honor, based on the instructions yesterday, I don't want to risk opening any doors, and so
I
we are
just
not
said be
going to
careful to
limit.
not open the door. I don't know that you do what you want to do.
My interpretation was,
Well, you were wrong in your interpretation. I'm not preventing you from asking this. If you want to ask her, ask her.
I guess I need some guidance then on what opens the door and what
I just
doesn't.
said, how do I know?
That's the problem. So I think
It's not my problem.
I think what we're doing is I'm proffering that this was the
I'm
material.
not preventing you from introducing what you're trying to proffer.
So
The state says they're not getting into this, so if what you want to ask Ms. Denning opens the door to this, then that's the problem.
is that
From your
cross-examination
perspective.
is cross-examination of that material going to open the door?
How do I know?
Well, I'm proffering
Depends
that.
on her answer.
Okay, well, I'm proffering the material that I would be cross-examining her on the subject matter.
Okay, and I'm telling you, I'm not preventing you from asking about that.
Okay. Well, what I am proffering then for this offer of proof is that based on the information provided on day 5 of the trial and the instructions from the court, we are modifying and we are not asking those questions
That is
based on the
totally a
instructions from the
decision you can make. I'm just telling you, I've had lawyers, I describe it opening a door as large as a trailer truck. And that was just their fault.
Just so I
What you want to ask may not.
understand that the door is being opened to material.
I'm not saying the door's open to anything. I just said yesterday afternoon, late, be careful in what you ask Ms. Denning in terms of whether it opens the door. It may not. I have no clue.
Sure, and I'm making an offer of proof as to the subject and the very careful subject matter that I intended to cross-examine on.
Like I said, I can't sit here and prejudge. You may ask a question and she spout off something she's thinking she's answering, and that opens the door. And you'll say, well, I didn't mean for her to say that. I'm like, that's not my problem.
Well, it puts us in a very difficult position.
You're exactly right. That's what oftentimes happens.
There are 2 predicate issues to this difficult position. One of which is the material the state has provided us that they want to introduce as an opening the door issue was not provided in discovery, one piece. The second piece is based on a search warrant information outside the scope of the search warrant, which Your Honor did not rule on.
Well, the state's saying they're not getting outside of the search warrant.
Well, they now provided us with material outside the scope of the search warrant.
This text,
No, the other set.
Your Honor, I just provided that to show that the text I received from Ms. Benning yesterday, that it was validated because it was
Okay.
located in his iCloud.
with this text from Miss, when did you get this?
Yesterday, and that's when I gave it to him.
So,
Well, hang on.
I'm sorry.
So Miss Denning just on her own said, hey, here's something you might find interesting?
No, Your Honor. Your Honor's order said that we could not use it in our case in chief.
Not
However,
use what?
anything outside of the parameters of the time period of the search
Right,
warrant.
but if this had been given in discovery, it would come from her phone, not the search warrant.
Correct, Your Honor. I asked her yesterday if she had her text messages from 2018. Your Honor said that we could get into it in impeachment. So in preparation for trial, I was having exhibits made. If they opened the door, I had to know what was there and had to have an exhibit ready to go.
Impeachment for who?
Impeachment for if the defendant testified, if they cross-examined Ms. Denny, there was information that Detective Reese already reviewed, but I had to go get it to create an exhibit.
If you forget the search warrant, this may have come in if it had been provided, because it's not as a result of the search warrant.
I understand, and I only prepared that information for purposes of if it became impeachment material during the trial. And in preparing the exhibits, that was one of the messages. I did not know about it. I asked her if she had that message still. And I didn't ask her for that message. I said, do you have messages from 2018? Do you have one on this date at this time? I didn't tell her what I was looking for. She pulled it up and she said she completely forgot
The order-
about the message.
Yeah, well, that's like correcting a lab report. Do you plan on asking Ms. Denny, now, I can't put out everything in this order, but in your proffer when she testified was about panic over a second pregnancy with another woman, his discussions about looking online for possible materials that might abort the child like NICL. That's what you plan on getting into, right?
Correct, Your Honor.
Anything further?
Not for the offer of proof. Thank you.
Okay. And on that subject, hopefully, so we won't have to break again. And surely to goodness finish the state's case. Does the defense want, I know we had the discussion back in the 404B and court probably, I'm pretty sure, got into discussions about whether it was a crime or labeled as a wrongful act. Does the defense want the court to give the instruction to the jury that's in 42.108 Tennessee Pattern Jury Instructions about how to consider? Again, I don't know that it's a crime, but talking about giving people drinks to end pregnancies, do you want that instruction?
Your Honor, I'd have to look at that instruction, but I will look at it promptly and get back to
Okay.
it. 42.1, section 08.
42.10A.
10A, I'm sorry.
All right, let the jury step in. Okay.
Your Honor, I'm going to ask that the witness be handed a 4-page document which begins on January 8th of 2023 at 1:06:09 p.m. The messages go through January 8th, 2023 at 2:10:25 p.m.
Okay.
Detective Reese, can you take a look at those messages and let me know if you recognize them?
Yes, I do.
And are those messages, I guess, can you say who those are messages in between?
Yes, these messages were extracted from Jade Benning's cell phone, and they're between the local user, which is her, that's her phone, and the contact she has saved as Blaise with the phone number we know to be his.
And Your Honor, at this time, I would ask that 4 pages of text messages be introduced as the next numbered exhibit, which I believe is 50. And if I may have permission to publish those to the jury.
Okay, all right, just mark those, she has those on the computer.
Detective Reese, can you describe the messages, if you can start with the beginning time and explain who they're from and what the content is?
So, beginning on January 8th at 1:06 p.m., Jade sends him a message talking about tagging along for an adventure. She was talking about a trip. Blaise replies, "LOL, okay." And then she says, "That's if you want, of course, LOL." Then he replies, "Gotta still have a job first, and second, you probably ain't doing much traveling for a while anymore. When next season rolls around, I don't think you'll be able to make impromptu trips on the weekends considering you'll have other responsibilities." Not trying to be negative or nothing, but just being, I'm sorry, I can't see, there's a little bar at the bottom. It says just being realistic. I mean, it would be,
Oh yeah, you can't lose that.
it would be great if you could, but it's unlikely.
And the second page, can you read these?
Continuing with Blaise, not trying to be negative. I'm sorry, that was the last one I read. Picking back up with Jade now at 1:25 p.m. LOL, okay, didn't mean to make it all serious, but yes, responsibilities will be different, but living life will still be happening as well, just living differently. And I understand the realistic thinking of it as well. It's a part of the big change. He replies, yeah, especially for you. She replies, of course, wasn't trying to go into a serious talk for us, sorry. He replies, but we don't got to be super serious. I just didn't want to sell false dreams. Because, yeah, it would be great if you could come with on my work trips, but I just feel like it's not realistic from a financial or just a just feasible ability to randomly catch a flight and get away for the weekend.
And the third page.
He continues with, it's no big deal. I know you wasn't meaning it that way, but I just didn't want to be like, oh yeah, I'll bring you on the next one next year, knowing that it's probably a lie. She replies, totally understandable, babes. It's not like it can never happen because I'm having a baby, but being realistic, it wouldn't be able to be on the fly. Planning out things will always be an option. Life doesn't just stop because, though. LOL, we're still going to have one just living different. He replies, I hear you, but you can't minimize how much things are going to change for you. You got to be realistic that things are about to be hella different for you and will change drastically. Your day-to-day life is not going to be the same. Yeah, life goes on, but it's forever altered and changed in a drastic way. I'm not saying it's over or anything, but it worries me sometimes when you downplay it and act like it's no big deal. And I know you always want to be super optimistic and stuff, but I feel like you need to be honest with yourself about the situation and know what's down the road for you.
And the fourth page.
He continues, I just want to make sure you understand the gravity of the situation and you're preparing for those realities, that's all. She responds, I'm not trying to minimize things, and sometimes I can be super optimistic, but things which can be scary. I can be super optimistic about things which can be scary. But I do sit and process that there will be drastic life changes and prepare myself for the tough realities as much as I can that are to come. I'm not trying to make it seem like everything it's going to be all peaches and cream. I'm hearing and understanding everything you were saying. He liked, I'm not trying to minimize things, and sometimes I, sent by Jade previously. And then he asked, what time are you going to work? She responds, around 3.
And Detective Reese, I guess you described, did you review multiple messages that were happening during that time frame of January, February, that kind of 2 months where Mr. Taylor had reconnected with Miss Benning?
Yes.
And I have another set of messages. They begin on February 4th, 2023 at 2:29:07 p.m. So 9 pages goes to February 6th, 2023 at 7:09:36 p.m.
Okay. You need those or you have them?
Do you recognize this?
Yes, I recognize.
Detective Reese,
I'm sorry?
did you recognize the messages?
Yes, I do.
Your Honor, may I introduce those as the next number exhibit, which I believe will be 51.
Okay.
And Detective Reese, if you can describe who the speaker is and go through these messages.
These are more messages from Jade's phone with her as a local user, and with Blaise, his saved contact with his known phone number. And they begin on February 4th, 2023 at 2:29 p.m. And would you like for me to read them?
Yes.
Okay. It begins with Jade saying, hey babes, hope you're having a good day so far. Just wanted to apologize again for my mom's doings last night. I've talked to her again and let it be known not to bring you or my situation up to anyone. I want you to know I got your back and defend your side to situations. He responds, hey, it's been good, very productive actually, but it's all good as long as we're on the same page moving forward. Everything is cool, but I appreciate it. She responds, that is good, love to hear it, and 100% will be. He loved that comment from her. And then he says at 11:50 a.m., hey, hope you're having a good day. That's on February 5th, the next day. That's followed by a message from Jade saying, "Thank you. Hope you are as well. Are you free in an hour?"
And page 2.
He responds, "I'm at work. What's up? Everything okay?" She says, "Yeep," which she does that frequently. It's obviously meant to be yes. "All good. Was just going to come see you on my break." He says, "Oh, okay. What time is your break?" She says, "I'll go around 2:30 probably." "Oh, okay. I won't be done by then, unfortunately, babe," Blaise responds.
And page 3.
She says, "Next Tuesday is Valentine's Day." He says, "LOL, I honestly don't really celebrate it. I just don't get it. FR," which is an abbreviation for real, LOL. She responds, "Yeah, I get that. I mean, it's honestly just another day to me, just showing extra love, LOL." He responds, "LOL, yeah, exactly. I never understood why people make it a big deal." And she responds, "Well, you still gonna be my Valentine," with the heart emoji. And so it's a crying emoji.
And the next page, which I believe is 3.
Yes. At 2:27 on February 6th, Jade says, "That's good, making the day go by." And then she sends him a picture. He responds, "Yeah, I guess, LOL. Great spot." And then said, "Loved it." And then it says he loved an image, which means he loved the picture that she'd sent at 2:36. And she comments, "Our second little date night spot, LOL."
And page 4, can you describe what's shown here?
That is the photo that she sent to him in the reference in the previous slide.
And were there previous messages that referenced they went there the second time they hung out?
Yes.
And the 5th page, can you describe what's shown here?
He responds with several laughing emojis to her referring to the date spot. And then she replies, "LOL, when you really liked me." Then he responds, "LOL, nah, when you really liked me. You always forget you was the one that chose to end it." She says, "Nah, I still really like you. LOL." Blaise responds, "The power was in your hands and you made the choice." LMAO, which means laugh my ass off.
And the next page, which I believe is 6.
She says, LMAO, no, it wasn't my choice to leave. You just didn't like what I said. I'd be showing you I still do, LOL. Says, Blaise says, I gave you 2 options, and you made your choice. Don't try to rewrite the past, LOL. More laughing emojis. You ain't slick, LOL.
And the 7th page.
She says, oh, I'm not rewriting, LOL. We not going to even start this, though, because we both go back and forth. He responds, because you don't want to admit what you did. It's cool, though. She responded, you gave me a crazy ultimatum, LOL, and weren't really wanting to go my route either. We're here, though, and trying to build our relationship, LOL. And he says, LOL, I wanted to try a relationship because I thought you wanted that and liked me like I liked you.
And the next page.
LOL, true from Blaise. That's at 6:30 p.m. on February 6th. She replies, LOL, patiently waiting on our next date. He responds, you was supposed to make us breakfast, but was too tired. She responded, LMAO, I thought you didn't want it since you had to be at work early. He responded, She responds, well, this next Saturday morning, I'll make us breakfast. And we still need to plan an actual date night out with each other, LOL.
Detective Reese, I want to kind of talk about the time frame of your investigation. You said that you had researched the facts of this case. Did something come up where you contacted someone in July of 2023 specifically related to this case and the facts of this case?
Yes, I contacted Apple Denny.
And can you describe how did you come to know of Apple Denny?
I believe it was maybe the day of or a couple of days after Jade's memorial service. Her mother had told me that somebody at the... I got information that someone at the funeral service had a friend who had a previous relationship with Mr. Taylor that had did not go very well.
Jade Benning's mom suggests you might want to reach out to this person?
Yes, that suggestion was made, and then I chose to wait until after all of the test results were back from the various lab tests before I moved forward with anything like that, because I wanted to know exactly, I wanted all the information.
And so you had the laboratory testing from that first blood at the hospital that Dr. Carney incorporated ultimately into the autopsy report by that point. Is that
Yes.
correct? And so when you contacted Ms. Denning, was she somebody that was local here?
No, she was not. She was in Arkansas.
And when you spoke to her initially, I guess, how did you contact her? Was it in person?
I called her, talked to her on the phone, and interviewed her over the phone.
And did she provide you with specific information that you thought might be relevant to this case?
Yes, she did.
And that was July 25th of 2023, is that right?
I believe that's the correct date, yes.
And then, I guess, was there a follow-up meeting with Ms. Denning?
Yes, we actually traveled to Arkansas and met with her and interviewed her in person.
And when you say we, who are you referring to?
Myself, yourself, ADA Moore, and Deputy District Attorney Moore, and Ms. Houston, the victim witness coordinator, traveled with us.
And the four of us went and we met with Ms. Denning in person.
Correct.
And that was January of 2024.
Yes, it was.
Which again, you referenced Dr. Carney's autopsy report was completed August of 2023. When you spoke with Ms. Denning the first time, did she provide a name of another person that was kind of part of the information that she had?
Yes, she did.
And did you recognize that name?
Yes, I did recognize that name, as it had come up in statements from some previous interviews I had done on the first night of this investigation.
And what was that name?
Xavier Winford.
And during your review of the messages that are happening during January and February of 2023, can you describe how much contact Mr. Taylor had with Ms. Xavier Winford?
An extraordinary amount.
And did you review those messages kind of in tandem with his messages with Ms. Benning?
Yes, I did.
And I have another set of messages to hand you. It is 6 pages.
Okay. You want to step up? Yes.
Reese, do you recognize the messages that were handed to you?
Yes, I do.
And what are those messages?
These messages are from Mr. Taylor's iCloud. The user account number in that second column from the right is his phone number, and the message sender column where there's a blank, we know that is from Mr. Taylor's number. The other number I identified as belonging to Xavier Winford.
And can you read out the date and time of the first message through the date and time of the last message?
Read all of them or just the beginning and end?
Just the beginning.
The first one on page 1 begins at 10:31 p.m. on February 24th, 2023. The last one ends at 10:50 p.m. on February 24th, 2023.
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, I would ask that these be admitted as the next number exhibit. And I will ask Detective Reese to read these messages. The second page, I'm sorry, Your Honor. The second page has the content of these that correspond to the times on the first page. If you can begin and explain who the speaker is and what the content is.
Okay. The text bubbles to the right that are aligned to the right are all from Mr. Taylor's number, and the ones aligned to the left are all from Ms. Winford's number. So it begins with Mr. Taylor saying, "So you should never doubt anything when it comes to us." She responds, "I'm doing my best." And he replies, "I know, I'm trying to reassure you." She says, "Thank you for doing that." He replies, "Of course."
In the third page.
And he continues, "I'll do anything to help you. That's what I'm here for." She says, "I trust that's true." Then he responds, "Good. Do you trust us? Trust in us?"
In the fourth page.
She replies, "Yes." Then he replies, "Good. Then you have nothing to worry about. Everything is going to work out." She replies, "I'm glad." He replies, "Good. Me too."
In the fifth page.
He continues, "I love you and I need you to love me back and be in love with me." She replies, "I love you too and I will." And then he replies, "Good. I just want us to be us and be happy together." She replies, "Me too." He loved the comment, "Me too."
In the last page.
And he continued, "We are going to be just fine. We just need to stick together." And then she replies, "We will stick together. Don't be walking off and stuff during conversation." Then he loved her reply of, "We will stick together."
Detective Reese, you said there was quite a bit of contact between Mr. Taylor and Ms. Winford in that January, February. Is that correct?
Correct.
Can you describe, that is the night before February 25th of 2023.
That is correct.
When those messages are occurring. After the investigation started, did you ever see Ms. Winford with Mr. Taylor?
In person?
Yes.
Not in person.
I guess, did you ever know her to continue to have contact with him after?
Yes, I did.
And can you describe how you knew that?
In addition to, well, the main reason was at the time of his arrest in Utah, I obtained that body camera footage. And they were actually together in Utah at the time of his arrest, about over a year after the incident, in a vehicle that was registered to her.
If I can have just one moment. Actually, I want to go back to one thing. That second set of messages where we had that conversation between Ms. Benning and Mr. Taylor, kind of about you made your choice and you decided to end the relationship.
Yes.
Did that connect to you to anything else that you viewed in those text messages?
Between,
Ms. Benning and Mr. Taylor.
yes, there was a previous conversation between them I viewed some communication between Ms. Benning and Mr. Taylor, and also in conjunction with conversation Ms. Benning was having with Nigel Jackson.
And is that November 4th message she sent him where they did not end up messaging for about 6 to 8 weeks?
I believe it was November 6th.
November 6th.
Yes,
I
but
think
yes.
you're correcting me.
Thank you, Detective Reese.
Detective Reese, how are you today?
I'm fine.
Good. Want to speak with you a little bit this afternoon about a few things in regards to your investigation as the lead detective of this case. Tell us again when exactly you were initially contacted that there was a homicide investigation going on.
It was on the late evening of February 26th. Like I said, I don't know the exact time. I don't think I documented that, but I would estimate it was around 9 or 10 p.m.
And what were you told exactly?
My supervisor spoke to me by phone. He told me that there was a call that domestic violence had gone out on the previous night, in which there was a woman hospitalized at Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt was reporting that they believed she was going to be brain dead, and that we were going to take over the investigation because she was not expected to recover. And
what did you do after that?
I basically headed towards our headquarters, and we had determined that we were having Miss Jackson and Miss Burks have them come down to headquarters to be interviewed by myself. And I went to headquarters and met with them, coordinated with one of my teammates while he began drafting a search warrant for Miss Benning's apartment.
And Miss Jackson and Miss Burks, I think you stated before that it was very important, or to you, that was better served to meet them in person downtown in your environment, if you will, so that you can have better resources.
Correct, yes. So I could access my computer and that sort of thing, and we could do a video.
Like I told you before, you can answer a question yes or no. That would be wonderful.
Yes, sir.
You need to explain it.
Yes, sir.
And what did you need your computer for?
I didn't need it for anything in particular at that moment. It was just availability.
In case you needed to research something, look something up, things of that nature.
Correct.
When Ms. Burks came to you and started speaking with you, did you learn about, I guess, the medical episode that her daughter had in regards to what Ms. Jackson told her?
Yes.
And she explained to you everything in regards to Mr. Taylor and what she knew of their relationship, correct?
I would say yes, and I believe so.
But she didn't know much, right?
I'd say she knew a decent amount.
Okay. Well, did she represent to you, I believe at that time, did you learn at that moment, did you have the impression that it was Mr. Taylor who abruptly ended that relationship? Were you given that information?
I wouldn't say that they necessarily attributed him to ending the relationship. It was that he demanded she get an abortion and she refused to, and thus the relationship ended. But I don't remember her specifically attributing it to him ending it.
Did you bring your offense report with you to review today?
It should be in the case file.
Would you need that in order to better refresh your memory as to what you...
He's answered your question. What's your next question?
Well, isn't it true, Detective Reese, that you reported that you were told that it was Mr. Taylor who abruptly ended the relationship?
That's possible. I just don't remember specifically being told that as I sit here speaking. But that may have been what, I just don't remember it that way.
But it was certainly what you put in your report, wasn't it?
If I can refer to my report, I might be able to confirm that.
No. Did you not bring a copy with you today?
I did not bring the copy of the case file up here on the stand because it's ordinarily in court.
Let me see if I have it here. And I would draw your attention to page 4, the first paragraph. You can read it to yourself and let me know when you're done.
Okay, yes, yep, you are correct. That is what I put there. Like I said, just didn't remember it.
That's okay. But that's not exactly how it went, was it?
My It's hard to really tell from the context of the text message because it's evident that they met and talked in person. They would text and then they would talk in person, so it's not very clear.
Well, isn't it true that the text message that Ms. Benning sent Mr. Taylor on the 6th, it was Ms. Benning who said, I think it's best that we end this because we're basically at an impasse.
Oh yes, that is roughly what she said.
Okay. That's vastly different than Mr. Taylor abruptly ending the relationship because Ms. Benning didn't want to get an abortion. Correct?
In essence.
And after that message from Ms. Benning, there was no evidence of Mr. Taylor continuously reaching out to Ms. Benning, trying to force her in any way to have an abortion, was there?
No, there wasn't.
And so, after learning or sitting and speaking with Ms. Burks, you also learned that there was some contamination of the crime scene. Did you learn that?
I wouldn't call it contamination.
You would not?
No.
Can I draw your attention to your offense report again, sir?
Referring to my supplement?
Yes.
What page?
If you could, look at page 3, I believe it is.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't, in fact, Ms. Weber went into the scene and removed items? I'm sorry, go to page 5, I apologize. In the bottom of page 4, top of page 5.
Well, I know Miss Weber went there the night that Jade was hospitalized, and I was told she retrieved Jade's keys and locked the apartment to prevent anybody from re-entering, I believe.
And I believe you learned that she walked all about the apartment as well, didn't you?
Yes.
And you believe that she took, or I believe it's reported that she took some belongings out of there as well.
As I recall, I thought she just got Jade's keys and locked the apartment.
Well, that's what she told you, right?
That's what I was aware of, I believe.
You have
Is it
not
that-
said it.
yeah, I'm sorry, I thought he was looking.
No,
That's
he
what she
said that's what he believed.
Okay. And so then you also learned that even after that there was another set of individuals who went into that apartment, correct?
Correct. That was the following day on the 26th.
Correct.
In the
And by that time, everyone knew the allegations Ms. Jackson were claiming against Mr. Taylor, right?
I didn't know them at that time, but I would say her friend and family group did.
Exactly. And were you aware that Officer Fish had given Ms. Burks and Ms. Browning strict instructions that no one should go in and out of that apartment?
Objection, Your
Where
Honor.
is that in the proof?
It's an Officer Fish spotted on camera. I'm asking if he knows that.
I'm not aware of that specifically.
Why
You're not-
again do you put in your questions information that's not in the proof?
I asked him if he was aware that Officer Fish?
Objection, Your Honor, to counsel testifying questions.
I'll sustain the objection.
Thank you. And
Disregard that part of the question.
when Miss Franklin and the three individuals, including Miss Jackson, went into Miss Benning's apartment, they removed significant evidence out of the scene, did they not?
That's correct.
And they shared with you that they also moved a camera, a blink camera. Did they share that with you?
Yes, I believe Najee mentioned that.
And she informed you that she only moved that because Miss Burks asked her to. Do you remember that?
That sounds familiar. Yes.
And that's pretty crucial stuff to remove evidence out of a scene, isn't it?
If the scene was still contained by police, I would say yes, that would be a big deal. But the scene had been released by police at that time.
Well, isn't it true that the police didn't go in until after they went into the apartment?
That's correct.
So it wasn't released yet, was it?
The Domestic Violence Division, when they'd finished their investigation the previous night, at that point, there was no one holding the apartment.
Well, if they were told by officers not to go in there, would that be considered a release?
I'm not aware if they were or not.
And would you consider the fact that civilians, someone who makes the statement that we were angry and we wanted answers, and they go in and remove evidence and manipulate things inside of a crime scene, you wouldn't consider that to be contamination?
Well, that's not the word I would use necessarily in this situation, because they took the time to video the apartment, or photographs made during some of the entries, and they used rubber gloves to collect something that we would have collected eventually once we got involved.
Can I draw your attention to page 3 of your report in the second paragraph?
Mm-hmm.
Last sentence. Second to the last sentence.
She said page 3.
I'm on page 3, which, I'm sorry, you said, which paragraph again?
Second paragraph, second to the last sentence.
They are performing additional tests.
Page 3, second paragraph, second to the last sentence. Ms. Weber and her friend contaminated the scene. Do you see that?
Not on page 3.
Okay, it's on my page 3. I'm sorry.
Okay. I see now the way the paragraphs are arranged. It didn't look like it was a separate paragraph. Yes, I see that. I didn't write that. That's by somebody else.
It was a police officer you thought worthy to include in your report, though, correct?
Well, it's not my determination of worthiness. It's just that that's the documentation. I asked for documentation that they did on whatever they did prior to my getting involved, and then I included that in my report under the heading Initial Investigation by the MNPD Domestic Violence Division. And then I preface in here that this italicized entry is the summary completed by Detective James Smith and subsequent update by Domestic Violence Division Sergeant Cucci.
And you, for a little while, in regards to the scene as we're discussing it, for a while you believed that there was a missing cup, didn't you?
I did, yes, for a little while.
And in fact, you believed that it was Mr. Taylor who had removed that cup out of the scene, didn't you?
That was my suspicion. I knew there was a cup missing, or I thought there was a cup missing.
And you arbitrarily assigned that misdeed to Mr. Taylor, didn't you?
I never said he removed a cup from the scene that I can think of. I just said that I believed there had been some cleanup because there was a cup that was unaccounted for.
And who did you believe did the cleanup throughout your report?
Specifically of that cup, I don't know.
You didn't think that it was Mr. Taylor who did the cleanup?
Like I said, I don't know. I can say that the cup is in a picture that was on Jade's phone prior to her falling ill. And then later, when we get there, it is over by the sink, sitting next to the wall, the backsplash.
Certainly sitting by the sink inaccessible for you to remove tape text, correct?
Yes, at that time, if we had known.
And so there was nothing stopping you from knowing, because when you went in to execute the search warrant, the cup was right there the entire time, wasn't it?
There was something to stop me from knowing it was relevant because we didn't get in her phone that night. So I was looking at the glasses that were on the island because glasses were mentioned in the interviews, and looked at those as those were relevant. I wasn't inclined to seize all her drinkware.
Well, wasn't there allegations that Ms. Benning was poisoned as a result of something she was drinking?
Yes.
Would it not have been important to grab every cup, every glass that you saw that was out if we were in search for exactly what happened there that night?
Oh, in retrospect, I absolutely wish I would have done that, but just that night, I did not, because we thought those were the glasses that were in use.
And then it's safe to say none of those glasses or those cups that you left there were tested, were they?
The ones that were left there, no.
And Mr. Taylor did not therefore remove anything from that apartment based on your knowledge.
I'm not aware of him removing anything other than his personal belongings.
Now, as you were learning about the incident, you learned that there was another gentleman who was present that evening with Mr. Taylor, with Mr. Benning, and with Ms. Jackson.
Yes.
And that individual not only was present in the house that night, he was also present on this phone call that Ms. Jackson says these allegations were made against Mr. Taylor. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
And when you learned about this incident, did you, and that person is Keontae Jones, right?
And to correct what I just said, he was not present on the phone call where she made the allegations. He was present on a return phone call made by Ms. Jackson with him merged into the call.
Within minutes of that call, correct?
Yes, it was a few minutes after.
He was the only other person besides Ms. Jackson that would have heard Ms. Benning in her distressed state. Would you agree with that?
By that point, she was already believed to be unconscious, so he wouldn't have heard anything.
Well, he didn't tell you that he heard her mumbling a little bit but couldn't make out words, but he could hear her trying to talk?
I can't recall exactly.
And knowing that he was present there that night, knowing that he was the only other person on the phone with her, did you bring him downtown to talk to him like you thought it was important to talk to Ms. Burks and Ms. Jackson?
Not at that time at night. They were there available, ready to go, and I was going to have to follow up with him later. I also didn't even learn about him until that interview.
Which was the 26th?
It was probably 1 o'clock in the morning or so. It was getting close to 1 o'clock before I was even aware of Keontae Jones.
1 o'clock on the 27th?
Yes.
So
It was during the interview with Nigeria, I believe, that I learned a little about that.
not even 48 hours after the incident.
Yes, that's correct.
And so after you learned about him, why didn't you bring him downtown so that you can talk to the only other witness to witness Ms. Benning's distressed state and the person who was inside of the apartment that night?
Because I was going to talk to him at a later time.
And how did you talk to him at a later time?
I've interviewed him over the phone.
It wasn't important to bring him down?
I've interviewed people over the phone all the time. I try to bring people down sometimes, and sometimes I'll talk to them over the phone. Sometimes I'll talk to them in the field.
Did you do any research on Mr. Jones to see if he had any criminal history, to see anything nefarious about him.
Objection, Your Honor.
Let the lawyers step up. Go ahead.
What all did you do in regards to Keontae Jones besides talking to him on the phone?
I just interviewed him over the phone.
Now, after you met with Ms. Burks, you met with Ms. Jackson. Is that right?
Yes.
And she explained to you the context and things of their relationship, Mr. Taylor and Ms. Benning, correct?
Yes, she did.
And there was some information that she had given you that wasn't quite consistent with what was going on between them. Would you agree?
You have to specify what you're talking about there. I'm not sure.
Well, didn't she also state to you that Mr. Taylor abruptly ended the relationship because Ms. Benning had gotten pregnant?
I can't remember specifically that was the wording she used. It was definitely the impression that I got from the interview.
And that wasn't completely accurate, was it?
Well, it was framed in the situation that he had given her an ultimatum between getting rid of the baby or the relationship, and that was my understanding of the reason she said, well, I'm not getting rid of the baby.
And he gave her the freedom to make her own choice, didn't he?
At that time, yes.
That is very different than abruptly leaving someone because they're pregnant, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, during the search of the apartment, by the time that you and the other officers are conducting the search, you are under the impression that there is, in fact, a potential poisoning, aren't you?
Yes, at the time we're searching.
And therefore, drugs were at issue, were they not?
Yes, they would have been.
Would it have been important to look into all of the drawers and boxes and anything where drugs can potentially be hidden?
Sure.
That didn't happen, did it?
I don't know. I didn't search the entire apartment myself. My entire team was involved in searching, so I feel like we did a fairly thorough search. But I don't know specifically what every single item, every container was opened, because there were several of us conducting the search.
You'll agree with me that every box was not looked into.
I can't say yes or no to that because I didn't personally search everything in the apartment.
Well, you didn't do that, did you?
I didn't search everything in the apartment?
Yes.
No, I personally did not. My team, we conducted the search.
You were the lead detective, though, right?
Correct.
You were running the show.
Correct.
You didn't instruct those officers who were there to find drugs to look in any place where drugs could be stored.
Well, everybody knew that's what we were looking for, any evidence of poisoning. So that's everybody's operating under that assumption and understanding.
So if you didn't look into every drawer, every box, every container, would that have been an oversight that could have potentially led to more evidence?
Potentially, but also potentially not.
There was also, if I may, Your Honor. also talk about a pink liquid that Ms. Benning was drinking, correct?
Yes.
And there was talk about Ms. Benning stating that her drink tasted funny, right?
Yes.
And that is what made those cups so important to taste, correct?
Yes.
This lemonade and fruit punch that was placed on the corner there, do you see that?
Yes.
That was something that you gathered and tested as well, correct?
Our CSI, he took the samples of those liquids and tested them, yes.
Because there were no other drinks that matched the description that Ms. Jackson had given you in that apartment. Is that correct?
I'm not aware of any others.
And you did, in fact, test those drinks.
No, the crime lab did, yes.
And it turned out that there was nothing in there that would be the equivalent of cocaine or anything else that could poison someone, correct?
That's correct.
And outside of that, there was no other evidence present that would, within that apartment, that would lend you to believe that Mr. Taylor poisoned Ms. Benning with anything.
At the time of that search on that night, there was no evidence found in the apartment, correct?
Now, you stated earlier that this investigation was pretty much driven by the search of any type of drug or poison that could have caused Ms. Benning's death, correct?
Yes.
There was a time, was it not, that you learned that Ms. Benning was involved with drugs?
I did learn, I believe, it may have been that night that she would smoke marijuana from, I believe her mother may have told me that, or one of her friends, or if not that night, it was in the following day.
And in fact, you learned that she had met with or was in contact with her drug dealer that day, correct?
That day? I would have to refer back to the messages that we looked at earlier. I'm not sure that it was that day or the day before.
Did you not find evidence that around 9:37 a.m. that she reached out to her drug dealer and asked, my coworker needs half?
Well, operating on the assumption that it was that day on the 25th, yes. Yes.
And there was no notation as to what the half was for, was it?
Well, it was to the weed man.
Well, you also learned through other text messages that she stated, I was able to get mushrooms from the guy who sold me weed.
A mushroom bar, yes.
So he didn't just sell weed, did he?
He sold, from what I could tell from the text messages, he would sell mushroom bars and marijuana.
Now, because this is a drug investigation, surely you reached out to that individual, didn't you?
To Danny?
Yes.
No.
Why not?
I was pursuing the death aspect of the investigation, not the drug investigation against that guy.
Would you agree with me that these days, the drug dealers now are masking the drugs they're selling with fentanyl and other things?
That is something that happens, yes.
And so, if Ms. Benning had come in contact with her drug dealer the very day that she suffered an overdose and or poisoning from drugs, you didn't feel that it was important to contact that individual and talk to him?
Well, the context of those text messages, it appeared that he was out of town and declined to service her coworker. I thought. I'd have to refer to them, but I'd have to refer back to the messages, but I got the impression that he said I'm out of town or something to that effect. Or I'll have to hit him back up later or something like that. If you have the messages, I can review them.
Would you go ready? He never refused to talk to her. He just said, I'll pick you up or get back with you when I'm free.
If that's what the messages said, it was something to that effect. I don't think they ever met looking at the messages, though.
Well, you learned that she went to Walmart that day, correct?
Yes.
And there was nothing that you saw by receipts or bags or anything that she actually went inside of Walmart and purchased anything that day. You didn't see anything like that, did you?
I just saw a text message she sent shortly after that saying I picked up stuff to make chicken Alfredo. And that was the only place she stopped after leaving work.
But did you search through that to see whether or not that was in fact true?
Did I go to Walmart to verify she went to Walmart? No.
Well, did you just look to see maybe in her records whether or not there was something purchased at Walmart?
No, I went with her text message saying she went to get stuff to make chicken Alfredo.
Did you talk to Danny just to see, hey, did you meet up with this young lady this day to eliminate that possibility?
No, I didn't follow up with Danny.
When we follow a financial crime, we follow the money, don't we?
I've never worked those sort of investigations, but I'm familiar with the phrase.
And so if we're investigating a drug case, we should follow the drugs, shouldn't we?
I guess so.
When, additionally that night, did you ascertain or look inside Miss Benning's phone?
That night, no.
At some point, did you do that?
Yes.
Did you uncover certain evidence that would be relevant to the investigation in and of itself?
Yes.
And one of the things that you were looking for was Miss Benning's interaction with drugs, correct?
Yes.
And in fact, there was interaction with drugs, wasn't it?
Yes.
However, in your offense report, you state that you didn't see any significant evidence of drug dealing or anything of the sort with Ms. Benning.
I believe I was trying to preface that with it being after she became pregnant. So, and also another thing to note is I was reviewing her phone ongoing for over a year.
Okay, so you're saying you wrote this before you found out that information?
Certain portions of this are written before that, but I did find, I did look through some of those conversations, but it was an ongoing thing for over a year.
Did you go back to amend your report so that it could accurately reflect the evidence in this case as it is?
I spoke with the DA's office, updating them as it went along, but I don't know that I'm not sure if I added anything in there specifically about that. I have to read through the whole thing. But the big thing was that it didn't appear to me that she was using drugs after she became pregnant.
Well, after she became pregnant, she was still dealing with drugs, wasn't she?
She was.
Objection, Your Honor.
Okay, he's about to answer, he can go ahead.
She was facilitating for friends and coworkers who would contact her and ask if she could contact her weed man because they wanted to buy some, and then she would subsequently message him and say, hey, my coworker wants some. And that was a thing that would happen repeatedly.
Is it your testimony that she never stated, I need X amount, or I need this, and my coworker needs that, and maybe John needs this?
I don't think she necessarily, every time she contacted him, specified it was for a coworker, but it was pretty consistent that there was a coworker asking her for something, and then she would contact him.
Well, you'll agree with me that when it was for a coworker, you saw my coworker needs. When it was for an individual that she would put a name to, she would say John needs. And in addition to that, there would be times that she would say, I want, or I need. Isn't that true?
I'd have to look at actually review the messages you're speaking about.
Now, at some point, you also talked to Mr. Taylor, didn't you?
Yes, very briefly.
And when you talked to Mr. Taylor, there were several things that you had learned from other people and that you learned from him, correct?
I didn't. When I spoke to him, I don't think I really learned anything from him. It was a very brief conversation.
Did you learn through your investigation that this was a date night planned by Miss Benning?
Yes, I knew that.
And that turned out to be true, correct?
Yes, that was correct.
Did you learn through your investigation that there was food that was eaten between them that day, chicken Alfredo and I think it was rolls and cookies? Did you learn that?
Yes.
Did you learn through your investigation that Ms. Benning had once infused her food with drugs or THC?
Yes.
Then did you have that food tested to ensure that there was nothing there?
I asked about getting the food tested, and I was told that the lab wouldn't do that when we were doing the search warrant.
Through your investigation, did you learn that Mr. Taylor had called 911?
Yes.
And did you learn that although Ms. Jackson and Mr. Jones had heard the distress, heard the dire straits that Ms. Benning was in, yet it was only Mr. Taylor that called 911? Did you learn that?
Yes.
Did you learn through your investigation that Mr. Taylor had given a rendition that Ms. Benning had vomited?
Yes.
And did you learn that that was in fact true, that she did in fact vomit?
Yes.
Did you learn through your investigation that Mr. Taylor, immediately upon going back to work, informed the Titans that he had come in contact with law enforcement?
Yeah, it was. I understood that he notified him that on the day of the 26th.
And he did that, you learned, because that was what was required of him.
Yes.
And when you talked with the Titans employees, because you talked to several of them, didn't you?
Yes, several months later.
And you learned that none of them, or at least I should say all of them, stated that Mr. Taylor did not drink and or did drugs, or they had no evidence of that, because you asked that question, didn't you?
Yes.
And all of them gave you the answer of he was not involved with drugs and or drinking.
Correct, yeah.
And in fact, throughout your entire investigation, did you ever learn that Mr. Taylor himself, while he was dating Ms. Benning, well, I'll rephrase that. Let's go to the night in question. Did you learn that within 60 seconds of the distress phone call to Ms. Jackson, that Ms. Benning was taking selfies of her and Mr. Taylor?
Yes, they were. I don't know about the exact time frame. I know it was very close, within minutes, just before it happened.
Within 60 seconds, correct?
I'd have to look at the timestamps, but like I said, I concede that it was very close in time.
And do you remember, these were some of the photographs that were there?
Yes, I believe there was about a dozen taken.
Correct, that's one. That's another, correct?
Mm-hmm.
That's another. That was another. That was another. And so you learn that all of these selfies were taken by Miss Benning of she and Blaise on their date night.
Correct.
At some point in your investigation, investigation. You had spoken with a Dr. Brucolari. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And do you remember who Dr. Brucolari is?
Yes. She was yes, I remember.
She's the doctor toxicologist from Vanderbilt, correct?
Yes.
And that's where Ms. Benning was being treated.
Correct.
And at some point, Dr. Brucolari told you that she would, or at least you wanted her to, let me find the language, follow up with you in regards to possible liquid cocaine or anything of the sort. Do you remember that?
I don't remember specifying, I'd have to check, I don't remember specifying about liquid cocaine with her. I was just asking for her guidance about what testing should be done.
Okay. And she told you that at some point that she would contact you once she got any evidence pertaining to that, correct?
Did I document that?
Yeah.
Did I document that?
You did.
Could you tell me where that is?
Page 7. At the
So,
bottom.
sure.
And I may be off the page, but let me find it.
Yes, and to answer your question, on February 28th, I did put in here, I continued coordinating between the medical examiner's office and Dr. Brucolari with regards to special testing requests to be done in the event of death.
Correct. And at some point, did Dr. Brucolari get back with you?
We had an ongoing dialogue for several days during this time frame, and it was, like, as I said, I was consulting with Dr. Carney and Dr. Brucolari. Let's see. So there was continued communication with us.
And at some point, did she get back with you as she promised? Because she was the toxicologist on this case that you were consulting, was she not?
Yes, we definitely spoke again after that.
And did she share with you that she had no explanation in regards to the cocaethylene that was present in Ms. Benning's blood?
Objection, Your Honor.
What's your objection?
There's no cocoethylene in her blood.
Okay, you're asking what someone told him?
I'm asking, as a result of his investigation, did he learn that?
Is he relying on what someone told him?
Yes, and
I'll sustain the objection.
who did you consult with in regards to the drugs in Ms. Benning's body?
After the point that she physically passed away, I primarily consulted with Dr. Carney.
And so you did not consult with the toxicologist that actually was involved in the case from the ongoing at Vanderbilt any further?
As I said before, I talked with her again after that, but at the point that Miss Benning did physically pass away, it was essentially Dr. Carney was my primary point of contact, because she too, from us talking, was going to be in contact with the toxicology in the various labs, because I don't know how to interpret the lab results the way a physician does, a forensic pathologist.
Well, and that same forensic pathologist that you're speaking about did not rule this case a homicide, did she?
No, she ruled it undetermined.
Was there any surveillance that was recovered as a result of this case?
There were a few limited clips right outside of Miss Benning's door.
Did you have access to the entire video?
I was given access, but I was not aware that I was given access until the video was gone.
Until what?
Until the video had already been overwritten.
Well, you were able to see some things at some point, weren't you?
Yes, while we were executing the search warrant, my supervisor had an email that he showed me that showed a clip of Nigeria and Keontae arriving, another clip of them leaving, and I believe there was a couple of still shots of Blaise arriving and coming out of the apartment, and that was all I saw at that time. And that was on a long email chain that I didn't know about at that time, the full extent. I did not read all the way down that to the bottom of that email chain. I found out about it much, much later that the property manager had actually given me access to their camera systems. But by the time I found out about that, it had already been overwritten. So I wish I'd pulled that video, the full video, but I did not.
If there was an actual video of that night, Mr. Taylor coming and going, of Najee Jackson and Keontae coming and going, of those women who went in there and removed evidence out of the scene, that would have been some crucial evidence for this case, would it not?
Just the videos of people coming and going from her apartment?
Yes.
Well, it was consistent with what I had already been told, so I already knew they were coming and going.
Well, it could have been Danny coming and going too, couldn't it?
I have no reason to think that.
But in a homicide investigation, you didn't secure to ensure that any surveillance was in fact captured.
No, I did not.
You were also told that the women who went in there and removed crucial evidence was told to do so by Ms. Franklin's son, who's a police officer.
I wasn't clear on who the relative was, but I was told a law enforcement officer out of state had advised to do that.
Did you check to see if there was in fact a law enforcement officer who instructed 4 women to go into a crime scene and remove evidence without the assistance of the police?
I did not follow up with that police officer, no.
Would you have thought that that would have been important to find out who instructed them to do that? Because it somewhat contaminated your scene, didn't it?
It was my position at the time that that comforter should have been recovered earlier in the night by police with our department, and I didn't feel that their actions were inappropriate given that some other investigators with our department didn't go seize that comforter earlier in the night.
Well, let me ask you this. If Mr. Taylor would have gone in there and removed evidence out of the scene, would you feel the same way?
Oh, no, not at all.
Have you learned throughout the course of your investigation the timing of the medical incident? And what I mean by that is, have you tried to line up whether or not what Mr. Taylor has said in regards to the calling of 911, when Nigeria called him, when EMS arrived? Did you do the work to see whether or not Mr. Taylor's rendition of the facts lined up with the truth?
I did check to see, I did document and check to see when 911 was called, and I did check and verify when the call was placed to Ms. Jackson, as well as the call Mr. Taylor placed to his father prior to calling 911, and then subsequent calls after that between with Ms. Jackson calling back to Ms. Benning's phone, and then several more calls later into the night up to the point that she was at the hospital.
And in fact, those calls to 911, the calls to his dad, the calls from Ms. Jackson, all of those lined up exactly the way Mr. Taylor said they did, didn't it?
Yeah, that's correct.
When Mr. Taylor arrived at the hospital behind the ambulance, did you learn that any police officer that wanted to speak with him, he spoke with them?
I'm aware that some officers spoke with him. I'm not sure if any were turned away, but yes, I'm aware some spoke with him. It appeared that he was speaking to anybody that came to him from everybody that I'm aware of talking to him.
And did you learn that there was nothing inconsistent about what he said to any of them?
That's correct.
Did you learn that he stayed there the entire time until he was told to leave?
Yes.
And that it was only because he was told to leave that he left?
I don't know what his reasoning for leaving was. I just know that he was told to leave.
In your investigation, you have just testified about Mr. Taylor talking to another woman.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor was not the only person in this relationship that was talking to someone else romantically, was he?
There was definitely several references to prior incidents with her seeing other men.
In fact, it was instances where Ms. Benning was dating Mr. Taylor and someone else at the same time.
I'm sorry?
When you looked through Ms. Benning's phone, did you see that she too was dating someone else at the same time that she was dating Mr. Taylor?
I didn't get the impression that she was necessarily dating anyone else. I know she had guy friends that she would talk to and an ex-boyfriend that she was still close to who lived out of state. And I'm aware she went and visited California with a friend and met up with a guy out there, but I don't know that they were in a dating relationship.
Certainly you saw and read text messages that would suggest that she was romantically interested in other men.
Objection, Your Honor. The state submits there's not a basis for this question.
Your Honor,
Okay.
the state may
Without
be heard.
adding all of your adjectives, rephrase your question.
Ms. Benning, well, let me say this. Mr. Taylor was not the only one in this relationship who was seeing other people.
I don't know that Miss Benning was dating anybody else romantically, for certain, no.
Did you see any romantic text messages and or pictures being sent?
Objection, Your Honor. This has been asked and answered.
He hasn't.
I don't see that. Do you know of any?
I didn't remember seeing any that I specifically think that made me think, okay, she's dating this person also. I definitely saw some like friendly text messages with an ex and things like that, but I didn't get the impression there was a current relationship going.
I'm not going to disrespect you.
Excuse me?
No. You had to give a declaration in this case, did you not, at some point?
What are you talking about?
A statement that you had to write in reference to this case. An affidavit.
Of search warrants and things of that nature?
Yes.
Yes, I've written affidavits for search warrants.
And
I'm objecting to the relevance if she's following up with a question about that.
it was the basis, your affidavits were the basis of being able to retrieve devices of Mr. Taylor's, were they not?
And I'm objecting to any questions about that.
What's your objection?
My objection is that it's not relevant.
I don't know.
The devices that were seized from Mr. Taylor are
What
not
is
relevant.
your question?
You seized devices from Mr. Taylor.
He's answered that.
You seized 11 devices.
That's already been testified to. You were wanting to ask something about an affidavit.
Yes, in regards to the affidavit that you put information about Mr. Taylor in these affidavits, didn't you?
Yes.
And some of the things that you put in your affidavits weren't in fact true, were they?
I would say everything should be true to the best of my knowledge at the time that I wrote it. Now, if there's something that I found out that differs later, but at the time that I drafted those, everything should have been true to the best of my knowledge.
Well,
Objection, Your Honor, to the relevance.
I don't know. It'd be relevant if he's lied. Are you saying he's lied in an affidavit?
yes, Your Honor.
All right, well, ask him about it.
Did you ever say in any affidavit, sir,
Objection, Your Honor, it needs to be specific. Any
Well, I can
affidavit.
I think she's gonna show us here in a minute and show the witness.
thank you.
What affidavit? Dave, what are you referencing?
I'm referencing the second declaration of Detective Reese.
Second declaration. What date of the search warrant? So the state can see what you're talking about.
This is the declaration filed by Mr. Detective Reese on March 6th of 2023.
All right, and what is your question?
Thank you.
Ms. Collins, can I see what you're referring
You
to?
sure? In your declaration,
Sheriff, did we approach?
All right. What are you referencing?
declaration, Your Honor,
It's an
an
affidavit.
affidavit of Detective Reese.
Okay, so what is your question about?
You
One.
stated in this affidavit that Mr. Taylor was pressured by his parents to re-engage with Miss Benning. That's what you put in your affidavit in your second declaration.
Can I see the document you're talking about?
Okay?
Give that, Mr. Evans. At the top of the page, you've got the right page. And 14, let me see. Let me see. Very top sentence is what she's asking you about. The very top sentence.
I know, sir. I was reading the previous. Yes. So, yes, this says Jackson, which is Najee Jackson, believed the following end of their relationship. Following the end of the relationship, Taylor was pressured by his parents to resume his relationship with Benning.
So you got that information from Ms. Jackson?
Yes, as you can tell by the
She's asking
sentence.
you, was that a lie?
No, I mean, I think now I don't believe that was the case, but the information given at that time, that was what was believed to be accurate.
He says
Yes.
it's not.
Thank you. Additionally, it was stated on page 2 of that declaration. If you go to paragraph 8, line 3,
Page 2.
I know, I was just trying to see what this document is. It doesn't look familiar to me.
You not know what it is?
Is that your signature on the last page?
It is. I'm just looking to see what the document was, so I'm aware. So, okay. So page 2.
Paragraph 8, second sentence, starting with during the interview.
Okay.
Now, you represent here that Miss Benning invited Miss Jackson and her guy friend over to eat. That wasn't true, was it?
So my sentence says, during the interview, Jackson said she went to Benning's residence with a male friend after Benning invited them to eat dinner with her and Taylor. And I know from her text messages, Isaiah referenced wanting to get a plate, and Jade was inviting to her. I don't know if she said, I don't know the exact verbiage she used, but she was receptive to them coming to get a plate.
But it was actually Miss Jackson who asked Miss Benning if she could come get a plate and if Keontae could get a plate too, correct?
I don't remember the exact wording, but it seemed to be a mutual friendly invitation, sort of, you know, you're welcome to come by sort of thing to me when I read it.
Now, going back to the relationships that you said that you don't remember in terms of Ms. Benning having romantic relationships with other people in a
Objection, Your
manner.
Honor, to counsel trying to testify by asking a
What
question.
is your question?
Can I refresh your memory in regards to whether or not Ms. Benning was in a romantic relationship with other men around the time that she was dating Mr. Taylor?
I'm sorry, repeat the question.
You want to show him something?
Yes.
Do it.
Please do.
Your Honor, I'm objecting to the question asked by counsel. The text messages she submitted are not during the time frame of this incident. We were talking about January, February 2023. This is well before that.
It's not well before that. It's actually November, starting on November the 4th, around the time.
Go ahead. What is your
And
question?
then here's another one, please, that goes to 225 of 20.
What is your question? Please, please.
Wasn't Ms. Benning involved with other men?
Having looked at that, does that change, was Ms. Benning, from your perspective, involved with other men?
I don't know who these messages are between. I don't know the other person on this. On this particular chain here.
So then you're stating then that you have no knowledge, although you've gone through Ms. Benning's phone, of her dating other men besides Mr. Taylor around the time that she was dating Mr. Taylor. Is that your testimony?
Let's see here. So looking at this, this text thread begins about a week after it appeared that their relationship was coming to an end, or around the same time their relationship was coming to an end. But yeah, they're definitely flirtatious in nature, I would agree.
They're a little bit more than flirtatious in nature, would you agree?
I would say they're flirtatious.
When Mr. Taylor relocated to Utah, he didn't just up and leave and go to Utah, did he?
No, it was several months after this, I believe. I don't know the exact date he moved, but I know he got a new job out there.
And in fact, before he even left to go to Utah, he reached out to you through his attorney, did he not?
I don't recall ever being contacted by his attorney.
You don't recall Ms. Riddle contacting you, letting you know and asking if it was okay, and to leave the phone number of Mr. Taylor so that if you needed him, you could contact him?
I don't recall that. I recall calling her at one point to
And
ask her a question.
Did you call her in regards to Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
And did she answer your questions?
Oh, I just was asking I was asking something about whether they were still representing him because he was no longer employed with the Titans, and she said yes. And I think I asked her something about their defense investigator.
And in fact, you learned that Ms. Jackson was worried because that investigator was reaching out to
Your
her.
Honor, to the hearsay?
I'll sustain the objection.
Well, isn't it true that when you arrested Mr. Taylor, he reminded you, hey, I reached out to you and told you, you could have just called me and I would have turned myself in. You remember that conversation?
I didn't arrest him. Are you referring to when I attempted to speak to him?
When you attempted to speak to him in Utah before he was extradited back here.
I just remember him saying, when I read him his rights, him saying, I'll just have my lawyer sort it out. I don't remember the full everything that was said. It was very brief, just a few moments.
And so it's your testimony that you have no recollection of him informing you before he left through his attorney that, is it okay for me to go to Utah and this is where I'll be?
I definitely do not remember anybody asking if it was okay for him to go to Utah because I learned of that through Jade Benning's family. I don't recall anybody ever telling me from his camp that he was going to Utah.
And finally, Detective Reese, throughout your entire investigation in regards to this case, you have yet to learn one thing that is inconsistent with Mr. Taylor and what he has shared as his rendition of the events, have you?
No, the totality of the investigation is contradictory to his story.
I'm not speaking of your impression. I'm speaking of what Mr. Taylor has said and done. There has been nothing inconsistent with that.
You mean the statements he has made?
Correct.
Correct. He maintained the same story.
Thank you.
You redirect.
Yes, Your Honor.
Detective Reese, messages that were just handed to you that was inferred that Ms. Benning was dating someone else, these all precede January of 2023. Is that correct?
Yes, they do.
And it is during the time when she is not even seeing Mr. Taylor.